waiting room. I forgot to record. Okay.
Oh,
I'm supposed to be recording this so that we can post it for everybody to watch the replays. So now I'll have to repeat this whole thing. Very briefly, I'm doing a King Sumo contest giveaway, maximum 20 authors, of which we currently have 14. 14 to 16, I'm not sure because I'm still waiting to get a couple blurbs and cover images. And the contest will run for a month. People that enter the contest can share the contest with on their social media and get extra entries. When I did this before, I had over 3,500 entries, which represented over 1,100 individual email addresses. And at the end of the contest, after the people that unsubscribed, I still had over 600 subscribers on my list that are still there. So we have, this is an idea for increasing an email list, if that is what a person is interested in doing. I'm open to suggestions from other people on what they are doing, what they have had success with, what they have done that they did not have success with, and kind of take it from there. I'm addressing list building today, although there's many other types of marketing of an organic method. So would anyone like to share? I'd be happy to have anybody share. Hello, Deborah, how are you? Okay, I can see nobody wants to share.
I'll share something I know doesn't work.
Okay, that's good.
I've run about 3 or 4 Facebook parties for launches, and they were quite the thing a few years back. And that was just such a total, I don't want to say waste of time, because they were fun. All of my friends, my author friends, would come to this launch party, and we would exchange, you know, pictures of sexy guys and little ditties, little excerpts from the book, and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I did not see, I mean, crickets as far as sales after that event, every one of them. Okay. So I think the days of the Facebook launch party are over, but I'm not quite sure what to do to replace that. I've also been reading a couple of different marketing books that say that you really shouldn't spend as much time on a new launch as you should on just a consistent marketing program for the books that you already have out there. So,
are they talking about ads, or are they talking about organic, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Both. What I did after I read 2 different marketing books recently is, and these are mostly targeting Amazon books. Okay, this is because I've gone wide with a couple of books, and I had them wide for about 2 years, and I sold 4 books. So I went back to Amazon exclusive, and the page reads right now are my main income stream and my main magnet for people for my list. You know what I find odd? I sent out to my list pictures of 2 different covers. I just recently updated all my covers. And I had an old cover and the new cover, and I asked, which one do you guys like better? I only got about a dozen responses, but I got my answer, and I picked one of them to receive a signed paperback. And when I asked her which one she wanted, she said, you know, I've not read any of your books, so anyone would be fine. How did you get on my email list then? You know, it must have been organic through attending someone else's, event. That right. Must be it. But there's a perfect example of somebody who ended up on my email list, and she's still there, and now she will get one of my books and hopefully read through. So
that's odd. Yeah, it makes you wonder how people get on your list. Do you have like a subscription page on your website where she might have
Yes.
visited your website? That
Yeah,
might,
maybe. But if she hasn't read any of my books, then, you know, I don't know. I just found that puzzling. When I send her the book and email her to tell her it's on the way, I'm going to ask her. I'm going to say, how did you get on my list?
yeah, very definitely. So I'm going to call you out because nobody has unmuted themselves and volunteered. So let me see. I think Kelly was the first one to join us. Kelly, would you mind telling us what you do on a marketing basis?
Nobody wants to unmute.
Yeah. So,
Hello?
hello,
Can you
Kelly.
hear
There
me?
you are.
Hey,
Okay.
sorry. No, I was saying my marketing strategy has been trying to figure out marketing.
Okay.
That's been kind of a hurdle for me.
Okay. Do you have an email list currently that you use?
I do, and I actually recently switched from, I guess, what would be considered emailing or bulk email to actually doing newsletters through a platform. However, I haven't been really consistent with that. I mean, I hear a lot about being consistent, so I'm gearing up to be more consistent, at least this year, or at least get into the practice. And I also because I found going through the platform and creating a newsletter to be more creative, which is kind of where I am, and so it's become fun. So I think I can maintain consistency on a monthly basis, and finding subjects or things to talk about other than, hey, buy my stuff, you know. So that's
Right.
kind of what I'm. That's what I'm.
Okay.
What
But
platform
That's where
are
I'm
you
going.
using? What platform are you using to make the newsletters, Kelly?
Miller Lite.
Okay.
And
we're
that's
not
just.
asking you what you drink.
Oh no.
Mailer Lite.
Mailer
Oh,
Lite.
Mailer Lite. Mailer Lite.
Right, Mailer.
I thought he said Miller Lite
That's
too.
funny.
Okay.
I have to remember that. That's funny. I have to remember. But actually,
And
prior,
what is your subgenre?
no, subgenre. Actually, it is romance, as I'm discovering.
Oh, okay. Because I mean,
Um,
I write historical romance. Some people write contemporary. Some people write fantasy romance. Some people write, I don't, what is werewolves and vampire romance? I don't know what.
Paranormal. That's
Paranormal.
paranormal.
Right.
Thank you.
well, I have taken to science fiction at a very young age, so that's where I'm at until recently, I guess. Especially with a couple stories I put together in the collection and self-published, which I was going to get to because I had revised that in 2016 with the intent of learning marketing and putting myself out there. And
Mhm.
so at that time, I had lined up conventions to attend and promote my book and promote myself and whatnot.
Mhm.
And so that was interesting. It was kind of hit and miss, and I think also because some of the conventions that I was targeting, I'm always looking for the path least traveled.
Right.
So a lot of those conventions tend to be, you know, comic book conventions and whatnot. And so to be there with a book was to offer something different, and I did have, you know, a few takers and whatnot.
Okay.
But other than that, and after that, it had migrated to Facebook, and I tried doing ads for a minute. I didn't really like the outcome of the ads, especially when you're paying for it.
Mhm.
And so my goal has been to generate organic reaches in Facebook, so through Facebook ads. And so given the expectations I have for myself and how or what I understand of Facebook ads and whatnot, the organic reach is far less than the actual ads, but
Mhm.
but it was kind of like scaling it back. And so in scaling it back, you kind of expected a lower return or lower results. And so the organic reach actually ends up meeting my expectations, but again, it's still about consistency
Mhm.
and whatnot. So
Okay. So have you joined with other authors on doing newsletter swaps on your books?
not yet, and I only have one book. I got three
Okay.
manuscripts on standby that I
Okay.
just actually finished this last month. So,
Okay, well, and
so
it's a little bit hard when you do author swaps if you're going to give away a free book and you only have one book, because then there's nothing for them to buy, but they're on your list. Um, Although a lot of the author swaps that I do, we do discounted books, so we might discount it anywhere from 50% to 80%, which on an ebook basically takes the price somewhere between 99 cents and $2.50. But again, it gets people on your list. One thing that you
right.
might consider is writing a lead magnet, which would be considered a short story somewhere between 10,000 and 20,000 words, that would lead a person into wanting to buy your book, and then you can use the lead magnet in an author swap.
Well, right. I was going to say that that was the other thing too. I do have that set up somewhere between 2004 and 2016, and raising three kids. I was able to I was able to fine tune my coding skills as far as building a website.
Uh-huh.
And so I have set up an online collection of short stories as well as some other, uh, well, actually, it's two different collections of short stories. There's sitting online.
Okay.
And the majority of those are free. And so I also, I make it a point to direct people to those to get a feel for, my writing style and whatnot. And I guess
Mhm.
at the time I had no idea that it was called Lead Magnet because I tend to just operate as a hermit.
No. Yeah, don't
And
we
so
all?
it's really, then it's just really just learning things. I mean, it's not reinventing the wheel, but just learning the wheel and
Right.
then
Yeah.
trying
I
to figure
mean,
out what works for you and whatnot. So
right. My first book was published in 2010, and it was last year that I thought, maybe I should actually start a newsletter. And my challenge has always been, in what the heck am I going to write? Why does anybody want to know about me? But the
Yeah,
crazy thing is, they do.
that's my problem.
Yeah, well, they do. And what I have found out in recently, I have added in my welcome sequence an email about how my husband and I were involved in a mountain man black powder shooting club for 20 odd years. And I included a picture of he and I in our period garb on board a tall ship. And I get more responses from that because in there, not only do I tell about myself, but I also I included that in the welcome sequence for the authors. Also, I have two different lists, one for authors, one for readers. And on the one for authors, it's like, if you want if you want or need some research on black powder weapons during ancient times, not ancient times, but 200 years ago to 500 years ago, I'm a good resource on that. And I get more responses from readers and other authors. So if you have something about yourself that is very interesting of that nature, that is a good thing to include on your welcome sequence. And when you do interesting things, I last year I circumnavigated the United States, just me and my dog in our RV. I didn't think anything about it. I'd post on my personal page every once in a while about, I'm in this town now, and I'm amazed at how many people cared. I mean, they were fascinated. They seemed to think that it was something that they couldn't do. And it's like, wow, maybe I could do that. So I'm sometimes amazed at what people consider interesting information. So, you know, when you're putting out your newsletters, of course, including something about yourself is helpful. I still struggled with what to include in newsletters. And then late last year, when I started the Facebook group, I started contacting different authors and asking if they wanted to do newsletter swaps. And with the exception of a few weeks here and there, I've had a newsletter swap almost every single week since then. And my list has grown significantly as a result. So there's, you know, another idea.
How do you do the newsletter swap? What is the process by which you do this?
What I do, I use, first of all, my autoresponder is Aweber. I had been on MailChimp, but they got to be too expensive. They were charging me, I don't think I even had 1,000 people on my list yet, and I was paying $34 a month. I switched over to Aweber, and it's $10 a month plus once a quarter. There's an additional $49 charge, so much more affordable. And they have the capacity for me, or the capability for me, to build a landing page, which I will build a landing page for each swap. So basically I have 2 different books that I will swap. And so I have a standard landing page for each of them that I just kind of swap out, you know, the author that I'm swapping with. So I'm not having to rebuild it from scratch every single time. But I have this landing page. It shows the book. It tells a little bit of the blurb, and that if they click to get the free book or the discounted book, whichever way we decide to do it, that they will be added to my email list. And I provide that to the other authors with a very short bio on me, and then get the same kind of information from them. I write up the email with their landing page and send it to my list, and they do the same with my landing page. And we send them out on similar days, if we can, on the same day, if not within a few days of each other. And I'm able to tag everybody with which author it was that I received, so I'm able to keep track of not only my growth, but where so so that's kind of nice to be able to track that. You know, if I do a swap with somebody and they have told me that they have, you know, a 2,000 list, and I get 2 new readers, but somebody else tells me they have a 500 list and I get 10 new readers, then obviously that's a more responsive list. Drink a little water there, Francis. You're muted. Yeah. So
that's kind of what I did with my last.
Kelly? Pardon me?
Yes, it is. I was going to say that's kind of what I did with the last newsletter I sent out. I spoke to my, I guess, childhood, and it was more. I took a chance because I was still learning. It was my third. It is my third newsletter. So I was like, let me, I guess, push the envelope, if you will, and presented a flash erotic piece. But in order to lead up into that, I spoke to my childhood, and the subject or the theme was that of honeysuckles. So I started with my childhood leading up into that flash, as far as what the parts of the honeysuckle is called, how do you drink the nectar from honeysuckle, and then my impressions, and relating it to anatomy, if you will. And so, and part of that, and even before that newsletter prior to that, which I really messed up, I had to figure out, but I did a survey to try to narrow down specific people on my email list that would be more interested in target them with that newsletter. But because I messed it up and I had wanted to stick to a deadline, so I ended up sending it to everybody, and also issued kind of an apology. And if you want to unsubscribe after this, totally understandable.
Did,
So that
did you
kind
have
of
any unsubscribes?
no, no.
Congratulations.
So yeah. I'm trying to get more personal with my newsletters as well. So.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, we can't hear Deborah because she says she doesn't have a working mic, which is too bad because we would love to hear from you, but you can put anything in the chat if you want to, because we can always read the chat. I guess I would want to know if once a month for a marketing thing is often enough. If anybody has some other ideas. We had 11 people sign up to join us today, so I don't know why we only had 2, but maybe that was just so that they would get notified of replays, which is fine too. I was surprised that the majority of people wanted a weekday during the day instead of a weeknight during the evening for this, but I will do these at least once a month, and if we have a demand for more, then we will do it for more than once a month. And we'll always take any kind of feedback, because this is kind of a new venture for us, and kind of learning as we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh yes, Deborah, we can.
I borrowed my daughter's mic.
Good for you.
Children
Anyway,
are good for something, aren't they?
oh, lots of things. But as for the newsletter, I've never tried it because I did use MailChimp and didn't get a lot of response there. So I was wondering, where do you go to find these people to give them the free books, to put them on your list or whatever, things like that? Is there, because I hear of this often, and I like the idea of actually sending something out, but I don't know where I would find the readers to put emails to put them in this
Right.
notice. So how do you find those?
Okay. Do you have a website?
I do.
Okay. And do you have a subscription form on the website that will automatically sign them up to your email list?
I have a web mistress, so I have to go find out if I do, because I don't know if I do.
Okay. If you have MailChimp, there should be a sign up form on MailChimp that that will automatically that you can set it up in MailChimp, post it onto your website, and then anybody who clicks on that will automatically go onto your
Oh, wow.
and
Okay,
then-
so I
and
need to
then-
get her.
yeah, and then you need to put your free book on your website, so that first of all, if you have it on your website, that you can drive people to the website to the free book. You can post it on like your Facebook page or any of your other social media. They go to get the book and they get the sign up form before they get the book. They have to sign up for
Okay.
your email list before they get the book. And in MailChimp, there should be a place. It's been a few months since I've used MailChimp, but I think there's a place that when they sign up on the list, it automatically sends out a welcome letter, and in the welcome letter is the link to download the book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I just recently read something on, in fact, I'm reading the book Newsletter Ninja. And
Yes,
I have
great
never,
book.
okay, I have never required people to confirm to stay on my list, because you usually lose a few people who are signing up. If they have to confirm, either they don't see the confirmation and forget about it or whatever, but you do want them to confirm, because in that first email, you can say, this is how you whitelist me. So they won't be put into, you won't be put into spam or promotions or anything like that in the future. So that's something I'm in the process of changing.
And what's the name of that program? What's the name of it, what you were just saying?
Oh, the book is
Yeah.
Newsletter Ninja.
All right, thank you.
And yeah, you can get it on Amazon for like $5 or something like that. And I think that's where I got it anyway. And so that helps you to build a newsletter list. Of course, you want to be posting on any of your social media that you have this free book, and that will help. That will still be slow organically. So how many books do you have, Deborah?
I'm putting out one a month. Right now, I think I've got
God,
14.
Okay.
I'm
And-
impressed.
Oh,
And how long are they? How many words?
well, one is 400K and others are around 22K. So it's I vary. Sometimes I have the short instant love.
400,000 words? 400,000 words? Did you-
Yeah,
did you
4K, 400K. It's a long book. It's
I
like,
was gonna say, I mean, I write long books and they're like 93,000 words, and those are full-length novels. If you have a 400,000 word novel, you've got 4 books there.
yeah, I think Tame the Blade is like 4K it's because
Yeah.
it's vampires and stuff. So
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
it's but I think that is 400K. Yeah.
Okay, and your others are around how many? 22,000?
Yeah, the shorter instant love ones are around 22K.
Okay, more of a novella, which is great. So what I would suggest that you do is find other authors, and you can go into our Facebook group and put a post out there that you want to do a book swap with other authors in whatever subgenre. So if you want, your vampires, I know that we have vampire writers in the group, and ask them to do newsletter swaps and
appreciate
let them
that.
know that you are just starting a newsletter and don't really have very much to offer them. But what I have found is that I believe that authors are always happy to help other authors. So, and even if they don't do a newsletter swap, maybe they will allow you to post that you have a free book in their social media, which then of course any of their followers or whatever have the option of signing up for you too. So those are some places to start.
And what would keep someone from, like, I have 1,000 subscribers, and I think my ghost romance people would be interested to read vampire novels. So what would keep someone from saying, okay, I will send out a newsletter featuring you and your book and offering a giveaway, or however the author wanted to do it, and for signing up for their list? I think that would be very helpful.
Oh, that
Yes.
sounds really good. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that idea.
It would be helpful. A lot of times when I see newsletter swaps, I will see authors say, you have to have a list of at least blank, 1,000, 2,000, whatever. And it's like, well, if you're not there yet, it kind of excludes you. But a lot of times, even if you will say, I don't have much of a newsletter yet, but I'm building my list. If you approach somebody, in a attitude of gratitude, so to speak, a lot of times they will be more than happy. I know that next week I have a newsletter swap with a gal. I think she's in Spain, if I remember correctly, although it might be Greece, I'm not sure. And when she said, yeah, I'd love to do a newsletter swap, and she doesn't have much of a list yet, but I said, well, that's fine, let's get you going. Well, then I realized that she didn't have an autoresponder and she didn't know how to do a landing page, but she's been working on those. So, it's like, okay, let's get you going.
That's awesome. Well, the other thing is, I write in several different genres. So I guess I need to make sure they know what book I'll be posting
Mhm.
where, because I know that some of my vampire books are more steamy.
Right.
And then I have the billionaires, in contemporary, and then I have science fiction as well. So I have, I just don't want to offend anybody, I guess,
Right.
is what I'm trying to say,
No,
by putting something on somebody's page that they So I guess I need to be very specific with what book I'm going to share.
Yes, that
The-
is important because I made the mistake. I did not separate my reader list into contemporary and historical. I have 2 contemporaries. I will never write another contemporary, I hope. And so I have everybody on one list. And so when I do a swap with a contemporary writer, I give them my first contemporary novel. And when I do historical, I give them my first historical novel. Well, the truth of the matter is everybody goes on one list for me. If you're starting out and you have more than one genre, you should have a list for each subgenre. So you should have your billionaire list, your historical list, and your paranormal list. And that way you can target just those people. The other way to do it is to have one list and have them tagged as contemporary, historical, or
See, that
paranormal.
might work better for me, only because my life is really busy.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't just write, I
Well,
do
the important
covers
thing,
as well.
yeah, the important thing is that if you're doing a swap on paranormal, you will probably want to save that for just your paranormal people.
Makes
And
sense.
your billionaires to just your contemporary people. You don't have to. You could be. Oh, thank you very much. In addition to that, what as I do is I just send everything out to everybody, but it can, depending on the size of your list and the interest that they have in reading, it can affect your open rates and your click rates, which you don't want to go below 10% on open rates. I feel fortunate that I'm usually between 20 and 40% on open rates. And my click rates are usually over 10%, and sometimes quite a bit more than that. But that's just kind of a heads up on how, if you're just starting your list, how you might want to segment them. But definitely when you are asking for a swap with somebody, you want to swap in a similar genre. So if they're doing contemporary, you've got your billionaires. If they're doing paranormal, then you have your paranormal. You don't necessarily want to swap a historical for a contemporary, because some people don't switch over on their reading. I do occasionally, but for the most part, I much prefer to read historical than contemporary, and I've never read a vampire, and I probably never will. So,
Makes sense to me. Thank you.
okay.
Oh, and thank you for the newsletter, Ninja Tammy.
Yeah.
Oh, by Tammy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Francis, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I read tons of books on marketing, so I hate to leave, but I am supposed to go pick up my daughter, so I have to take leave of you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. I think we're probably ready to wrap it up unless anybody else has things that they want to discuss.
No, nothing here.
Okay, well, thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Deborah. I know we had somebody else
Thank
who
you.
isn't with us now, but I will get this put up on YouTube and then post in the group the link to it for anybody who wants to rewatch it.
All righty, happy writing, everybody.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.